Some race weekends are easy to explain. You look at who won, what strategy worked, and maybe a few key moments that decided the outcome. But every once in a while, a race happens that feels completely different, something bigger, heavier, and impossible to forget. That is exactly what unfolded at Talladega Superspeedway. From the very beginning, there was a sense that something dramatic was coming. The tension was real, the energy was high, and when the defining moment finally arrived, it changed everything in seconds. This was not just another race. It was a turning point, full of chaos, emotion, and consequences that may shape the rest of the season. The moment that sparked chaos. At the center of it all was Bubba Wallace, a driver who has been building momentum this season. Unfortunately, this moment will not be remembered for success. Midway through the race, the field was running exactly how Talladega races usually unfold. Cars packed tightly together, moving at nearly 200 miles per hour, relying on each other for speed through aggressive pushing. This style of racing is thrilling, but it leaves almost no room for mistakes. Then it happened. A push sequence went slightly wrong. It was not unusual. In fact, it is something drivers deal with every lap at superspeedways. But this time, the contact escalated. Wallace's car turned suddenly, slammed into the outside wall, and within moments, the entire track was covered in smoke. Drivers behind had nowhere to go. What followed was the dreaded big one, a massive 26-car pileup that wiped out more than half the field in seconds. Among those caught in the wreck were some of the biggest names in the sport. Denny Hamlin, Busch, Joey Logano, Larson, Reddick. In just a few seconds, the race was completely transformed. At Talladega, things do not just go wrong, they explode. NASCAR's rare and serious response. Crashes like this are not new at superspeedways. They are often seen as part of the sport, unfortunate but unavoidable. However, this time, the reaction from NASCAR has been very different. Officials have launched a formal review of the incident. They are studying every detail: car data, throttle input, onboard footage, and even team radio communications. The goal is simple but important. Was this just racing, or was there something more? This decision carries major weight. If it is ruled a normal racing incident, the sport will move forward as usual. But if NASCAR finds something unusual or avoidable, penalties could follow. These could include fines, points deductions, or even a suspension. Early in the season, that kind of punishment can completely change a driver's championship hopes. Bubba Wallace, taking responsibility. While the crash itself was dramatic, what stood out just as much was how Wallace handled the situation afterward. After being checked and released from the care center, he did not blame other drivers. He did not make excuses. Instead, he spoke honestly about how difficult Talladega racing really is. At these speeds, even the smallest mistake, a slight angle on a push, can cause disaster. Wallace admitted that his team still has areas to improve, especially in how they handle pushes and manage high-speed situations. His words showed frustration, but also maturity and accountability. In a moment filled with chaos, that kind of response matters. A tough blow to momentum. The timing of this crash could not have been worse for Wallace. He came into this race with strong momentum, showing consistency with multiple top 10 finishes. It felt like he was getting closer to a breakthrough moment. Meanwhile, his teammate Reddick has been performing at an elite level, winning races and setting the pace. Wallace addressed this honestly. There was no jealousy, just a simple, real question. When will it be our turn? That is the reality of racing. Momentum is everything. And a DNF did not finish, does more than hurt. It resets progress. One of the biggest crashes in Talladega history. Naturally, fans quickly began asking, was this the biggest crash ever at Talladega? Not quite, but it is very close. The 26-car pileup ranks among the largest in history at this track. It falls just short of the 28-car crash during the 2024 playoff race and the famous 27-car wreck from the 2003 Aaron's 499. But numbers do